Is Drew Nishiyama here by any chance? I didn't see him in the audience yet. Okay, he was hoping to be here today. If we maybe have a quick one moment. I think we have a roving mic. Does this work? I'm not sure if that does or not. Nope. I might need, okay, let me try another one. I know it works somehow. It's just user incompetence. There's nothing wrong with that equipment. Hello, how about this? How about this? Whoa, okay. So in a moment, what we're going to try to do throughout the course of the day, as time permits, is when a speaker presents, we'll have somebody with a prepared question who will be able to immediately ask the question, and then be able to have a moment or two to have a couple of questions from the audience. We're running short of time because we got a little bit of a late start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pose a question that I knew Congressman Frank's office was going to ask the congressman. So I'll ask the question briefly, and he'll respond however he would like, and then we'll get ready for our next speaker. So the question that he would have posed today was, given all of your experience in Congress over these last number of years and how difficult it's been to get people to understand these really tough issues, what kind of recommendation would you give the rest of us here as we think about trying to move the ball forward down that field? And be very interested in just getting your words of wisdom to the rest of us as we try to move this ball forward in the next year or two.
Thank you very much. The innocence and ignorance on the part of our general population about this general subject is astounding. And we have truly representative government. So the biggest challenge that we have is to educate government. They would like not to be educated because this is very uncomfortable to think about. Lowell Wood, when I first started thinking about EMP, I called my friend Tom Clancy, who had an EMP scenario in one of his books, and I knew he did great research and he could tell me something about EMP. He said, if you read my book, you know all I know, but let me refer you to the smartest person hired by the U.S. government. That's a lot of people, and it's a pretty steep hill to climb to be the best one of those, but in his view, it was a Dr. Lowell Wood from Lawrence Livermore. And Lowell said, it's just too hard, they don't want to think about it. And I think that's true. It is really hard. It is really tough. But you know, if you don't think about it, any one of these 5 things that we talk about could end life as we know it. Now, when you tell something about that, you know, some things are too good to be true, and the corollary of that is that some things may be just too bad to be true. But, you know, that's just not so. Any one of these 5 things could bring down the grid. And if you think about it, almost everything we do is dependent on electricity in one way or another. Everything. So, and there is no fallback position. There's no fallback position. There's 3 days of food in the average city. You know, if you go to Walmart and buy your food there, they're 24/7, many of them. They're stocking the shelves as you take the food off the shelves. If you go to Sam's Club, they do close the doors there, but they stock the shelves at night. There's no warehouse in the back of those stores. The trucks come in to put the food on the shelves while you're taking it off of the shelf. They're a really critical threat to our society. The biggest challenge that we have is education. Just call your representatives, call your senators, tell them this is something they have got to pay attention to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Congressman Bartlett. Now we're going to switch gears in just a little manner, in that we're going to be focusing now on one of the other venues, threat venues, that could create a long-term collapse of critical infrastructure nationwide in the country. And that's going to be brought by yes, I have a
very quick question.
Sure.
One of the problems is that the public is not familiar with what would happen if we had an EMP event. So I'm asking, how would an EMP event compare to the Fukushima event, which people are much more familiar with?
A nuclear bomb dropped on a large city, even New York or London or Tokyo, takes out that city. EMP attack, one weapon of the right size detonated 300 miles high over the center of our country, Iowa or Nebraska, could produce an EMP with about 50 kilovolts per meter. The Russian generals told us they had weapons that would produce, 100. They told they had weapons that produce 200 kilovolts per meter. At the margins, that would be 100 kilovolts per meter. To my knowledge, we have never designed or prepared for anything, even in our military, more than half that. And beginning with the Clinton years and the diminution of funds in defense, we started waiving EMP hardening of our new weapon systems. And I kept asking them on armed services, why are you building these systems? You know, we don't need those for Iraq and Iran. The only time you need those systems is against a peer. And in all of their open literature, in all of their war games, one of the first things they do is a robust EMP laydown to deny you the use of all of your equipment which is not EMP hardened. And that was essentially all of our new equipment. Almost none of it was EMP hardened. Now, I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned that if the lights go out, our military is really not going to be there, because our military now has been divesting themselves of all of their infrastructure. The local military base gets their electricity from the grid. It's the grid that powers the water supply that they get. It's the grid that treats their sewage, that powers the treatment of their sewage. I want our military facilities to be self-sufficient. I'm a big proponent of small modular nuclear reactors. Even if there's not irreparable damage to our grid, we may not be able to start it because much of the grid cannot do a black start. They've got to have power to spin up. And if our military bases, which are widely distributed across the country, could keep the lights on during an event like this and have some power to spare for those parts of the grid which are not irreparably damaged, they might be able to spin that up again. You know, there's just lots of things that we need to be doing. We should have started it a long number of years ago. And this is a very tough time to do it, when we're in a recession and money is very short. But you know, it can't cost too much. If you don't do it, it's going to end life as we know it if one of these events happens. And that is what will happen if we do not prepare ourselves.
Thank you very much, Congressman Bartlett. I should mention, in light of that question, that we have with us later today Dr. George Baker, who ran all the technical programs for the government in this area under what was called then the Defense Nuclear Agency. And he's going to be talking about EMP myths, and we're going to have a chance to ask him questions. And similarly, you'll be able to engage us after the meeting today. We'll put a conference proceedings together, and through the InfraGard EMP SIG, of course, we'll be able to engage you further and make certain that we put you in touch with people who can answer the questions that are inevitably going to be raised during the course of the day that we won't have just enough time to answer today. So the shift we're about to make now is focusing on a similar but different threat venue, which is that of cyber attack. As you know, the government, including the FBI, has a large concern about the issue of cyber. And to address it today, we have the leader of that effort from the FBI here with us. But what I'm going to do is have Special Agent Miller come up right now, along with Mr. Richard McFeely, who's the FBI Executive Assistant Director for Criminal Cyber Response and Services Branch. And I just want to say one thing. As you may know, InfraGard wouldn't be able to work well without the generous involvement of the FBI supporting the local chapters and national activities such as this. And when you get to begin to know folks at the FBI, they have interesting titles. And many of them have the word special in it, like special agent. That's because they're special. There must be some technical meaning too, but I'm sure it's secondary to the fact that they're just special people. And so, and very often they'll have other names that go with it, like really special agent so-and-so. So I'm going to call on really special agent Miller to come this morning and tell why our speaker is as special as he is. Thank you.